Hello everybody, my name is Kayla Sampson. Welcome to my first YouTube video. I recently competed at Miss Pennsylvania USA this past weekend, so I really wanted to create a video to document my experience, what to expect during pageant weekend, and give some words of wisdom for those who are interested in competing for a pageant. So let's get to it. So I do have my notes here because there was so much going on this past weekend. We were literally there early morning Saturday, and it was just nonstop. And we ended around like 4 o'clock on Sunday. So yes, it was a pretty exhausting weekend. It was a really fun experience, but yes, there was some downsides to it. I'm really excited to talk more about my experience, but let's first talk about the pageant itself. So the pageant was Miss Pennsylvania USA. It is the state preliminary competition that leads into Miss USA. Miss USA is currently owned by Crystal Stewart. She took over a year ago. So the pageant system went from its slogan of confidently beautiful to pageantry reimagined. This system, I guess Miss Pennsylvania USA is owned by Proctor Productions, and she also owns Michigan, Ohio, and Kentucky. So let's talk about the pageant itself and who runs it. The pageant is the Miss USA system is owned by Crystal Stewart. She took over a year ago, and its slogan changed from confidently beautiful to pageantry reimagined. And the Miss Pennsylvania USA state competition is owned by Proctor Productions, and they also own Ohio, Michigan, and Kentucky as well. So if you win your state title, then you can go to Miss USA. So there's 3 phases of the competition. There is interview, swimsuit, and evening gown, and each is worth 33%. But apparently, final question, if you get to the top 6, if you're lucky enough, is not even scored, which I thought was kind of odd. But of course, yes, we were told that could sway the judge's final opinion of you and if you should be selected as the next title holder. Practice your interview skills, practice your onstage question, be comfortable with getting an answer concisely stated within 30 seconds. So we were told that there's going to be 71 contestants during orientation, and I was kind of shocked because a state like Pennsylvania usually doesn't draw that many girls to their state competition. And so when I was told 71, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, some of these states I was also told, like Mississippi, had a decrease in the number of contestants, and that was probably due to the fact that in previous years, you can compete in more than one state pageant based off your residency. And the rules changed once Crystal Stewart took over, stating that you only compete in one state competition per year. So that probably had something to do with the numbers changing because, some girls are a legal resident, like myself, in another state, but they go to school in a different state. So that probably swayed some people's, decision on where to compete. On pageant weekend, on Saturday, there was actually some contestants that dropped out. And I was like really shocked about that because you paid all this money, spent all this time, and your support system was probably, built up, preparing you for this pageant, and you don't even show up. So hopefully, if there's a family emergency, that's understandable, but like once you commit, like that's a large investment. So once you decide to sign up, you're just gonna have to go through it. Whether you feel like you're not ready, that not as confident as you thought you were gonna be at that point in time, you're gonna have to power through it. It's just a learning experience. And also new this year was fan favorite and people's choice. So you had an option of using your social networks to campaign for votes. And finals choice, I believe, who was the girl who had the most votes, automatically went to top 6. People's choice went to top 16 automatically, and that person had the second highest votes. But really, it was, you know, $5 a vote, and I really just think it was a money grab. But you have people with deep pockets that can help you get to top 16, top 6. It was beneficial to you. A barrier that some other contestants might face with fan favorite People's Choice, since you have to pay $5 a vote. Now I can see if it was like $1 a vote, but like $5 a vote, kind of expensive. Let's start talking about the other costs associated with a pageant. So the registration fee was $150. I don't think, in my honest opinion, that they actually turn people away. Like, they tell you, oh, apply and let's see if you get accepted, but I just don't see that they turn somebody away. That's just my honest opinion. It's just money. Who's going to turn somebody away when they're giving you money? It's not happening. Then it was $600 to enter the pageant. Then it was $135 to purchase this satin banner. But also we had to pay $20 to pay for competition banner. The money started adding up, and I just don't understand the purpose of having two banners. Like, I could see the satin banner is probably used to create appearances for yourself, for your community, events you organize, but in my opinion, that $135 banner was not worth it. So that's probably something they could have dropped. And then to pay another $20 when we just paid all these registration and entry fees, yeah, I don't understand. But just, you know, more money just kept adding up. And then also for headshots, it was a requirement to have a black background, and you had to be wearing a black top. And so for me, I hate it because it lost like my individuality. I have black hair, dark skin. Like, that would not be a background of choice that I would choose for a headshot. And I just really felt like that was very restrictive. But then I can also see the other side of the argument that it puts everybody on the same playing field. But I'm confused because I was told photogenic wasn't based off the headshots that we had took. It was based off the pictures we took after interview. Like, I don't know. And they had an official photographer. I guess her name was Deb Noss, I believe. Yeah, she was charging $225 for one look, one outfit, one retouch. And I was just like, yeah, no. Like, I'm gonna go with somebody who's gonna give me more than one outfit, more than one retouch photo, more than one pose. Like, yeah. I was not gonna pay $225 for, yeah. No. And also I would have to drive to Lexington, Kentucky or Columbus, Ohio. Like, way, not convenient, way out of the way. I just feel like you're the official photographer for the pageant. Like, you should at least be in each state taking photos. So yeah, that's something else to think about. I would definitely look out for people, like past contestants that competed, and look at where they took their photos. Holt Avery did my photos, so I'm from South Carolina, so I just like, you know, I was always going back and forth between home, between the breaks, and so I just got my photos done when I was at home. And of course, he did a great job. Like, that's somebody I would go to if you're in South Carolina, or if you want to travel and spend all that money to get there. But he did a great job. Hair and makeup, that was another issue. You had the option of doing it yourself, which I did. I did my hair and makeup myself, or paying somebody to do it for you. They have official hair and makeup sponsors for the pageant, Team Flawless. They're charging about $1,000. Yeah, no, not paying that either. And on top of that, you have to pay a $225 beauty, I guess they call it beauty counter fee. Just, you know, another cash grab. we had to buy opening number outfit. Now, it was nice that we're all in blush pink. But, you know, dresses had to be above the knees. So, you know, another restriction. We had to be wearing silver earrings. Another restriction. Swimsuit, black or white. Now, when I'm shopping for a swimsuit, I'm picking like a neon bright color. Like, that's just me. And I love body gloss swimsuits. So I love like the sporty look for a swimsuit. So I luckily found something that was kind of similar to a body gloss swimsuit that was black, but still, you know, I think they do like that traditional pageant swimsuit look. Again, classy, girly, yeah, not sporty. But, you know, that's something I wanted to wear because that was me. And so just be aware of that. They did have us with these like little sarong, you know, wraps you put around your swimsuit when you're out on the beach or, you know, at the pool. But we weren't wearing them. They were in our hands. And they were like, you're not supposed to do anything more than have it in your hand. So I don't really understand the point of it. Just to add some little flair to it. So if you're practicing for swimsuit, be on the lookout just in case you have a prop. Because that's not something I was practicing walking with. Oh, shoes. Shoes had to be silver. Like, why? Like, most people, I guess pageant girls, they do like that nude heel because it elongates your legs and it doesn't cut off your legs. And I feel like silver like cut off that elongation that you would have had with a nude heel. Also, heels, the platform couldn't have been more than 1 inch. The heel height couldn't have been more than 4 inches. They said it's like a safety reason because people don't know how to walk in heels. So just be cognizant of that fact. And the silver heels and earrings had to be worn for opening number and swimsuit. Evening gown. I felt like this was like the first time I could have some individuality. Because even for interview outfit, there were like no sequins, no beading, nothing, none of that. So evening gown was the first time I could have some type of individuality. Except the stage wasn't really conducive for my dress, but I'll explain that later. Like, I had a ball gown, yeah. And the way the stage was set up, yeah. And so then also you can purchase optional promo and ad pages. Those are like way over $100 for like half page, and then like over $200 for a full page ad. So yeah, understand that when you're competing, all these prices are adding up. But you can find sponsors. So you can reach out to people in your community and say, hey, I'm competing in this state pageant. I really would like if you could support me, and try to get funding in that way. It would help cut down the costs, but you're gonna have to put in the work to find those sponsors. So you're interested in competing in a pageant, decide earlier rather than later, so you can use that time to find people that are gonna sponsor you. Also, you're gonna have to pay for hotel. So think about that. I would suggest not going with the host hotel if you can find a hotel that's closer to the venue and comparable in price. Because the host hotel was in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, downtown. And that was like 15 minutes away from the venue. But when I was looking at hotels, I found one that was only 3 minutes away from the venue, and it was comparable in price. So it was a no-brainer which hotel I was gonna choose. You can save time, like getting to the venue, back and forth. Definitely find a hotel that's closer to the venue. So let's talk about how the pageant was set up. It was Saturday, Sunday pageant. We had orientation on the 10th. That's where we got to meet the director. We got to meet the current title holder and the rest of the contestants. And so they basically told us how the day was going to be run. Make sure you bring everything. A lot of girls didn't understand this. But make sure you bring everything. They're telling you So bring everything. Don't think, why do I have to bring stuff now? Like the pageant's later. No, bring everything because you're going to practice in that later. So definitely bring everything. During orientation, they were telling girls, you know, make sure what you wear doesn't matter, but make sure it's comfortable. Here's my take on this. Like, you need to dress for the part. Like, I don't understand. Like, some girls were showing up in like athletic wear. Like, if that's comfortable, yeah, it's gonna be more comfortable than wearing like, you know, a skin tight dress. Like, you gotta dress for the part, because I think a lot of girls kind of were like, oh wow, like I didn't know. But they were trying to tell you that some girls are gonna dress a little bit more extravagant than others. And I just really feel like dress for the part, be in the moment. That's just my take on that. It doesn't have to be expensive. Use resale. I use resale, even for my evening gown, resale. Let's get back to the pageant weekend. The pageant weekend was the 23rd and 24th of April. And it was so busy. Like, we had to be there at 7:30 in the morning. I had to check in, bring my $20 in cash for the competition banner. I had to bring my $50 in cash for program books. Program books were $20 a book or $50 for 3 books. So another expense to think about. You also had to pay for a beauty bar at that point in time. You had options to buy the photo package by, I guess it was Edwin Shaw Photography. And then you also had an option of buying competition video by Pageant Vision. It's just like extra cost when you think about. And the photo package, I know, was at least $170, $190. The competition video was a lot more than that. We started rehearsals at 8. Rehearsals were supposed to last from 8 to 12. When we first did run through, we were in the outfits we arrived in. Like I mentioned before, some girls, you know, were dressed to the nines. And the other girls, some were in like athletic wear. It was, you know, the first interaction that we had with the stage. And they made us wear our silver heels, the heels that we were going to be wearing for most of the night. And Kent Farm was the person that choreographed this, you know, the opening number, the swimsuit, the evening gown segments, the closing number. Like, he has this creative mind that I just don't have. And I'm just like, I wish I had that type of mindset, but I don't. So he knows where to look, where to stand, you know, what you should be doing. If he did not like something or it wasn't up to his satisfaction, he had us doing it over again. And so definitely he's going to make you work because it's a production. Like, it was very something you would see on TV. Like, I didn't realize how much went into organizing a pageant and seeing, you know, the behind the scenes and seeing the tech support behind everything. The music is so loud. Make sure when you're doing opening number, you're like screaming your name. Because if not, the music's going to drown out your name and your title. So make sure you are doing that. Luckily, we were able to rehearse in our opening outfit, swimsuit, evening gown. Because when we were doing evening, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, my evening gown was like a huge ball gown. I don't know. They had like these 2 platforms. I don't know if I'm going to be able to turn and come back the way they wanted. So I was like asking somebody, I was like, should I still do this or should I keep going straight? And she was like, you chose the gown. And I'm like, yeah, I just asked a question, to be honest. That's all I did was ask a question. Basically, I was just like, luckily that I was able to walk in my evening gown the way they wanted us to. Because for over a week, I was practicing walking in my evening gown, but just not in that, you know, the formation they wanted us. And after rehearsals, which took forever, because we ran over, it went from 8 to 12, and we ran over to 12:30. They're like, if you're the first 15 for interview, you have to stay. And I was like, this was my time that I was supposed to leave, you know, get ready for interview, and I just literally had my time cut that I should have had time for myself. And I was just like thinking that I was dressed appropriately this morning. I had already had my hair done, curled, had my makeup set and ready. I just had to do touch-ups. But imagine if you just came in athletic clothes, no face done, you wouldn't have had time. You would not have had time to do anything to get ready if you were doing your hair, your makeup, changing, and trying to get like a quick bite to eat. I just don't. I mean, I know I can't get it done in an hour. Some other girls probably are a little bit more skillful than I am, but that's just something you need to think about. I would say come prepared, ready to rehearse, like you're about to walk off from rehearsals and go straight to interview. Because just because they have a schedule doesn't mean they have to follow it. Interview. So once I got ready, interview started at 1:30, and they had us lined up at 12:50. And I was 5th to go. So what I would suggest is making sure you have a mirror and like something to pat your face. I was wearing this outfit. I wanted like a, I didn't do any lashes or anything because I wanted a natural look. Some other girls did lashes. I just don't think that's realistic. I'm sorry, for an interview. And I had like my little white gold earrings on. And I left the dressing room to interview, but the whole time it was like so hot because it was like in like a performing arts center. So it was like in a school. And I was like already starting to sweat. So I didn't know what I looked like from going to the dressing room to standing in the interview line. And so I was like, ugh, I don't even know what I looked like in front of judges. Like, I don't even know if my lip gloss was still there. So definitely I would bring like a little compact mirror that you can put to the side, like in the hallway, and like a napkin, and make sure you're not like too oily, because I have really oily skin. And so that was something I wish I would have been able to do before interview. It was only 2.5 minutes. Yeah. I don't know how you can like get to know a girl in 2.5 minutes and be able to pick like the best winner. That's just my opinion. And I was only able to get 3 questions in during that time. So there was 5 judges. There was 3 women, 2 men. I think 2 of the women, at least 2 women, were former state title holders. So it was nice because they would know what to expect in a winner. They know what they're looking for. They also know that they've been through this point. They probably know how we're feeling right now. So they were really, like, everybody was nice for the most part. We had 2 men. One was a former football player, and another was a state director, which I don't understand why he was even a judge, let alone a state director for the Miss USA system, because some of his social media posts were very, let's just say, not the definition of female empowerment. And I just can't wrap my head around the fact that this person was selected as a judge after a state competition happened months ago. Girls were posting on social media the things that he has said about women. It was body shaming comments. It was calling women out their names, like a dumb beat. Like, I just couldn't believe that this is a state title, like a state director, posting these things. Especially when they're preaching to girls, like, clean up your social media. Like, people are out to get you, want your crown. They're trying to find ways to strip your crown. And this person is a pageant director. It's just, that was very discouraging. Like, I knew before entering the interview room, I told myself I was not going to look at the judges because I didn't want, to find information out that was going to cloud my thinking. But of course, there was girls in the dressing room talking about, this so-and-so is a judge, this so, and I was just like, great, now I know who the judges are, and I've heard a name that should never have been involved in the judging process. And then for me, I'm just like, even if this person, didn't have this controversial social media post, I was just like, why is a state director even judging another state pageant? Like, wouldn't you want your girl to win Miss USA? Like, are you selecting the best candidate? Like, to me, that's just a conflict of interest, and I would never have chosen a state director for judging my pageant if I was, you know, the Pennsylvania state director. That's just me. But this person should not have been chosen as a judge. That's, yeah, very unfortunate, but that's life. People are going to have opinions, but people also need to be held accountable for their opinions as well. That's something the Miss USA organization needs to really work on. If you're really going to be preaching that it's pageantry reimagined, because right now it kind of feels like you're using girls to fill spots and you're taking their money. That's what it feels like. Back to interview. I only had 3 questions. A lot of it just came from my bio. It wasn't any hard questions. I talked about, you know, not entering medical school right after graduation because I really was fearful of rejection. And now currently I'm like waitlisted at a school that I didn't even think I was gonna apply to, like, ever. So yeah, shocking. And then I talked about being a nursing assistant during the pandemic. I learned about, not really learned, but, you know, was reminded about the fact that mortality exists. Because we're in our 20s, and so we kind of forget about that. So live life to the fullest. Treat and take every opportunity that you can to improve. And so when you walked into interview, you had to say your name, age, and title, and then turn around. And I don't understand the turnaround part, because you're walking in with your satin, not the satin, but like the competition banner. You're walking in the room with it on. So the judges are not on the right page, which everything should have been in order. Like, I don't know why they're not on the right page, but because everybody should have been in order. I guess that's why they make us turn around. Interview happened. And of course, after interview, I was asking girls who went before me. So the 4 girls that went before me, like, what kind of questions did you get? But of course, there was girls who hadn't even had interview yet was asking, oh, where were the questions like? And I was just like, kind of annoyed. But that's like the nature of the game. If you're interested in, you know, keeping the competition fair, just keep it short and simple. I basically said the questions came from my bio. Some other girls were given specifics. Like, I think one question was floating around out there, like, if the world ended and you could only stock up on one thing, what would be the thing you would stock up on? And you're given time, and it seems that that question was recycled, but you're given time for the girls coming behind you to think about it. So judges need to be switching up their questions or asking a question that is so broad that people can't even prepare for. That's just my opinion. But of course, just be alert about that. So after interview, I got a break. That was actually the first time I got to see my parents, because my friend Lily, she drove me up to the pageant, and my parents were driving all the way from South Carolina, and that was like a 10-hour drive, so they didn't even get into like 7 a.m. that morning. And so that was the first time I got to see them, with about like before 2 o'clock. So it was really nice to see them before the competition actually started. I ended up trying to like look for hair glue, because like a piece of hair that I added to the back of my head, like, it was not holding up. And so I had to like basically sew in these pieces in the back of my hair. And then my mom's oil light kept coming on, and I'm like, y'all didn't get the car service before y'all even came up here? Like, come on. So it was a mess, but I had still enough time before the pageant even happened. And we had to be there by 6:20 on Saturday for the show. I think doors opened at 6:30, the venue opened up at 7, and then the competition started at 7:30. We did the show. It was so long because we did not rehearse with the teens. The teens were like doing their own separate thing, so it was a little bit longer. We had an intermission that we didn't practice, because who's gonna practice a 30-minute It felt like 30-minute intermission, even though there wasn't a set time for intermission. There was 2 special awards that night. It was best swimsuit and best evening gown. I got top 3 in evening gown, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm not surprised that I got top 3 because it's a gown. It was, you know, a nice custom gown with a very hefty price. And, you know, not like, you know, the cookie cutter kind of gown that any other girl could have bought. I think somebody, a past title holder, has worn it before. But yeah, I think it's been only one girl. Because they don't even make, I don't think they make it anymore. But I'm not giving too much information on my gown because I haven't decided like what I'm doing in the future. And I really don't want to take away the wow factor of the gown. I'm just being honest. Because it was a gown. And really surprised I didn't actually win the award. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Like, I literally could not leave the venue because everyone kept stopping me, telling me their gown was their favorite. They loved my gown. I'm surprised you didn't win it. I'm like, yeah, I know. But the whole time you just laugh because I know it was the best gown. And that's all that mattered. Because you got to wear a gown that you're going to feel confident in. And that was the gown I felt confident in. It was so funny. I was telling my mom, she was like, you need to go find a new gown. I was like, no, this is the gown. Like, I knew this was the gown from the start. And I think all the other contestants, they kept telling me how they loved my gown. So that it was the gown. Yeah. Still the gown. All right, so after that night ended, I gotta take pictures because I knew my parents were like, oh, if you don't place on Sunday, we're gonna have to leave because you know they have a 10-hour drive back, and that was understandable. And I took pictures with them on Saturday. Another thing, tell your parents where to be after you finish, because my parents are still in the auditorium. And I'm like, guys, why do I have to come all the way? And this gown is 13 pounds. Like, I had to, on the way to the airport and get it weighed, TSA checked and everything. I actually lost the gown. That's a whole other story. But it was 13 pounds. And on the way coming back to Philly, because I went home during the break, all the way back to South Carolina, and I wanted to show my mom the gown I picked. And I had to like have 2 different bags, like garment bags for the gown to fit within like the size requirements. It was insane. And then I ended up losing the gown on the way back to Philly. Oh, you can bet I was so, like, I was mad to the point where I was just not even saying anything. Like, that's how mad I was. Because I knew how much money that gown was. I'm like, y'all, like, the airport couldn't even afford to replace that gown. That's how expensive that gown was. If they lost my gown. They ended up putting my gown on a different flight. Like, that was the whole story. Just make sure your gown's with you at all times if you're flying it. Like, just avoid all that. After the pageant, I got back home. Took off my makeup. Make sure you have face masks because your face is going to like go through it for the day. You're going to be putting on all this makeup. Had to be there at 8 a.m. They're like, if you're there at 8, you are late. Make sure you're early. And I was there on time. Not like at 8. 8 would have been late, but I was on time. So you can tell I was cutting it close. But I was there on time. That's another thing. Don't be late. It looks bad. Don't do that. Because if you're selected, it just looks like you're just not prepared. And they're probably going to be thinking, like, why was this girl chosen? Like, she's not prepared for this year. Those were at 8 to 12 on Sunday. We actually got to rehearse with the teens. So that was like really the first time we got to interact with them the whole pageant. For Sunday, they were basically like, this is opening number. It goes from opening number to top 16 to top 6 and then winner. But just realize the teen also has to do their like top whatever they did. I don't know the numbers were the same for teen because I did not place. Yeah, I'll talk about that later. I keep saying so a lot. I'm so sorry. After rehearsals ended, it actually ended 10 minutes early. So I was kind of glad about that. So we had 10 minutes to get ready for 2 o'clock. Not 10 minutes, but we had, let's see, 2 hours. Not really 2, but like an hour and a half solid to get ready for the show that started at 2 o'clock. And they provided lunch for us because they didn't want us to leave. But it sucks because it was turkey sandwiches from Subway. So there was like a box lunch kit. So if you're like, any dietary restrictions, they don't account for that. I think that's so disappointing. So people who are vegetarian or couldn't even eat gluten, they had to find their own meals. And note that your parents, they cannot come in the venue at all. So they would have to come up to the door and a representative for the pageant would have to like grab whatever you needed and then bring it to you. So a lot of girls had to like do that because they have special dietary restrictions. The inclusivity is, still not present. What happened, I was waiting for the names to get called. My title of Center City did not get called. It was kind of sad, but it wasn't end of life, if you know what I mean. None of the curvy or plus size women placed. So that was a bummer. That was a huge bummer because they're sitting there preaching pageantry reimagined. I think a lot of girls entered because they really believed it. I'm not seeing it. And I just really don't believe that the Miss USA organization can go on a national telecast and be like, we represent women of all body shapes and sizes. And it's not the truth. It is absolutely not the truth. You guys do not represent women that are bigger than, the standard size that we have been seeing girls be crowned. And of course, some girls are more fit or toned than others. Some are like naturally skinny, but you're not going to see girls with, bigger hips or bigger thighs or bigger butts. It's just not, we haven't seen that. So disappointing, incongruent in how I would think I would tell a girl who's interested in competing versus how I feel. On one hand, I think I would tell her, oh, it's pageantry reimagined, is about what you're passionate about, your career ambitions, and how you're serving your community. Then on the other hand, how I feel, it's if you're interested in winning the title and crown, do not apply. And that's just how I feel. In psychology, there's these terms called manifest and latent functions. I don't know if it's applicable to this situation, but I think your manifest function, if you're entering a pageant, should be always your intended goal is to win the title and the crown. And the latent functions are, improving your communication skills, learning how to confidently walk across the stage or gaining friendships. Like those are all, great latent functions, but I think always your manifest function should be to win the title. And I think each girl should approach it as to the crown is through your title. And so I approached it as the road to the crown through Center City. Like I always believed that. And so I don't think you should be paying all this money if you're not interested in winning the title. It's not worth it. There's other outlets out there if you want to gain friendships. Join a sorority. You know, if you want to gain public speaking skills, join a leadership position. Like, there's other ways out there that doesn't cost all this time and money. That's just my take on it. So when I did not place, we were still part of the final show, only in opening, evening gown, and in the crowning. They had us backstage the whole entire time. Like, they told us to get our evening gowns on. If you weren't in top 16, get ready for the evening gown parade, which was divided up into different colors. So it looked really nice. But we were just backstage waiting. We didn't know what was going on, who was still in it. So when girls would come backstage, we didn't know if they had not made it to the top 6, like, and then they would be like, oh, it's intermission, we're waiting. It was just, I wish there was like a screen so we could actually see what was going on and we can support the rest of the girls that were in it. So I do want to congratulate the winner. Her name is Billie Owens. She got first runner-up twice in a row and then third runner-up last year. And I always will applaud a girl who understands resiliency and can persevere during, challenging times. To be able to come back after you're so close and not give up, that's very commendable. And, it goes to show you that sometimes dreams are delayed and not denied. And so I wish her the best of luck at Miss USA. And I definitely wish girls who are still interested in coming back, that they do come back. And if it's their dream to become Miss USA, that they keep, reaching for that dream. So you learn a little bit about yourself, I feel like, after each experience. And this experience is not anything different from that learning process. My final thoughts about the pageant is it was great production. Like, it was a whole show. So I really appreciate all the people that were backstage, all the lighting people, the tech. I don't know any stage terms like that. Like, I was not a theater person. I was an orc dork in high school. So I don't know any, I don't know what to call those people. But yes, thank you guys for, organizing us, helping the people that are the women who are helping us backstage get it zipped up, dressed. You're making sure, our hair was in place. Amazing. Chantel was really amazing backstage. That was really, somebody that caught my eye and somebody who really kept supporting us. The directors and Proc Prod. I don't know I have my opinion on this, but I don't know the actual reason. I just really felt like every time we saw the director and, the other people with Proc Prod, everything was fleeting. Like, not engaging at all with the contestants. I think you should be cordial all times, no matter what. When we're standing in line, I think a hello goes a long way. I mean, you don't have to keep walking past people. It's just awkward. And us as contestants, we don't know what rules are. I understand optics, because you're talking to one contestant. Some girl might go, oh my gosh, they're really favoring this girl, and oh my God, they're talking to her 3 times a day and they've only talked to me. I can see that happening. But we're all there in a big group. Just say hello. Even the state title holders, they were in beauty bar the whole time. The only time we saw the current title holder was during rehearsals and when the rest of the girls didn't make top 16. She came out, Sydney Robertson came out and was like, I know how you're feeling because this happened to me. This is how I felt when I didn't win, or I didn't place at Miss USA. I'm like, this is the first like interaction we had with you for the most part. Like, there was no good luck. I mean, we had orientation on Zoom, but even before the pageant started, I walked in and said good luck. The girls did their own little prayer. It wasn't a prayer circle, but it was something similar. We did our own like little prayer circle. It was just, if you're a title holder, be a leader. Director, be a leader. It just kind of felt that way. I mean, I would go out my way and say hi, but that's all I'm gonna say to you. I'm not gonna like do all this small talk. Like, I'm not even a small talk kind of person. I get you're busy, you're running this pageant, but yeah, y'all can do better in that department. Last thing I will say is, I thought about if I got a question about female empowerment during this process. And my answer, you know, it depends on how I was asked, but bottom line, I would say that sometimes we as women, we wait for a seat at the table. And sometimes we want to use that seat at the table to voice our opinions, and that seat just never comes. And so I think it's important to create your own space, to use your voice. And when you're in your own space, you can, you know, go by your own rules. Also, none of that matters if you can't uplift those around you, you know, help them get to where they want to be as well. So that was, you know, my gist of female empowerment. I wanted to use my voice as Miss Pennsylvania USA. But since I'm not Miss Pennsylvania USA, I definitely want to continue using my voice. And I think YouTube is, you know, a platform for me that I can use my voice in a way that I want to, and be able to convey my passions, my career ambitions, and how I'm serving my community. Like I said before, I'm interested in medicine. I was a nursing assistant for 3 years. That way before the pandemic even started, because that was like a whole other story. The pandemic was really, it was hard. It was hard to play family member and caretaker during that moment of time. But it really did solidify my interest. That whole experience working as a nursing assistant solidified my interest in becoming a geriatrician. So I'm really interested in internal medicine. I'm currently applying to medical schools, currently waitlisted. So we'll see if I get in. I think movement doesn't happen until after April 30th, because that's when they have to narrow down to one school. So I'm hoping to see, you know, that waitlist movement within the next upcoming weeks. If not, then I think they have like an intent deadline in June. I don't know. It's like a long process. It's been a long process for me, but I definitely want to share my journey into medicine. I am a non-traditional student. I did not go straight from undergrad. And, you know, hopefully I can inspire those to enter the field of medicine, because I really do think it's a great field. I think it's the best field. My parents both work in healthcare, so definitely I am biased. But I didn't know where like my spot in healthcare would be. And so working hands-on, getting that patient care experience, so important. I really do think medical schools should start requiring it, because you're not gonna know. Like, I only know probably like a 20th of medicine after that experience. And so, yes, I definitely want to continue doing YouTube videos, and hopefully y'all subscribe. Comment below what I need to work on. There's always room for improvement. Comment below on you know, any questions that you guys have had for pageants. I know they have Ohio and Michigan coming up, so it might be any use, my video of how pageant weekend was run. Definitely was a great experience. I have aged out, so I'm not competing in the USA system again. Sad about that, but I don't look like I'm 27. Actually, the age is 28, but I need to be 28 before 2020, like under 28 before 2023, and I turned 28 like May 8th. That's my birthday. But I don't look like I'm 28. So hopefully I can keep that up well within my 50s if God be willing. But if you're interested in doing a pageant, just understand you're gonna have to commit and you're gonna have to go through it. Like, there is no half-butting it. There's another word, but I'm not gonna say that. You're just gonna have to like go in it and be yourself, be authentic, because only you know you. And also, if you're interested in hiring a coach, I chose Alyssa Latham as my coach, but there's other pageant coaches out there. But you don't necessarily need a coach. But if you want to do well, I would suggest getting a coach. They know how bios are supposed to look. They know how walks are supposed to look. Yes, they know what looks good. So definitely look into getting a coach. Start now and not later, because some states have already crowned their current title holders. Some states have not. So use this time to prepare and get ready. Yes, for the most part. I think I covered everything. I'm like looking through my notes to make sure I did it. I think I did. So thank you guys for listening to me rant for like almost an hour-ish. Hopefully I can cut some of these parts out and it'll be 45 minutes, but yeah. And I look forward to posting more videos. So like and subscribe. Thank you guys.